Tumelang, Hamakosi, hello. Good evening, everyone. Just gonna give it a couple more minutes, then we can get started. If everyone can just, one or two, just let me know if you can hear me all right.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Joshua.
Mm-hmm.
How's it? Welcome, everyone.
All good, yeah, bro. All good, yeah.
Lekker. Just a couple more minutes. Everyone have a good weekend.
Yes.
Good. I don't know if you guys saw the news, but if you guys can just spare a thought and a prayer for the goats. They were involved in an accident. I don't have all the details yet, but if you can just spare some thoughts and think of them tonight.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, definitely. I checked that out on Facebook. That was
Yeah.
nasty.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
it's like America. They got physical therapy and free massage and all of that. So
it's nothing like America, I'm afraid. It's
Nope.
no. So yeah, it's the accident looked quite bad, but we'll just have to wait for one of them. I'm speaking to Emmanuel, but as you know, it's a traumatic thing, so I haven't heard anything back. As soon as I hear anything, and of course there's privacy and stuff, I'll let you guys know. But yeah, just share a thought tonight. I don't know if he's okay. I haven't heard much. I've been messaging, but of course you understand somebody might be in hospital, or so they don't want to talk about it yet. So we just wait for an announcement. Okay, so I'll start the session. Yeah, if everyone can just mute their mic so there's no background noise for the recording. And yeah, as usual, I'll be going through some things. Ask a question, it will be answered to the best of my ability. This is where last week a lot of people said, where do they put in the work if they're at school or if they work during the week? So now would be the time to sit down and analyze your pairs. So I'm going to be doing some analysis with you guys on some pairs, and then yeah, I'll be taking questions. A few of you guys have asked me the RSI indicator and the RSI strategy divergence. I will be going through that. And yeah, I think for now we can get started just with some analyzing here. Okay, so as you know, on Friday we had NFP and we've got some big movements into the market. Some of it, I think, especially on Australian, US dollar pairs, there's going to be a big correction. So if I look at AUD USD, for me, we have a break of a trend on a 4 hour, on a daily, sorry. So on a 4 hour, I'm expecting to go back to where we were. So as you can see, we've sort of got a nice channel here. We've broken a trend. We've got a retest, got an area of support that for me has been broken to the downside. But this bullish engulfing and this bullish momentum that's kicked in was just because of NFP. So if we go any lower, you can see after NFP was done, we just had consolidation. So in my eyes, I'm expecting AUD USD to correct. Just from, market structure always prevails over news. So news will cause a spike, but structure will always be structure. So I'm expecting it to correct. A lot of other pairs as well. There was some nice movement. If you guys caught it, there was a few trades I caught. I caught gold. I caught GBP USD. I got taken out. Yeah. So yeah. So looking for this week ahead, I think this week is going to be a really good trading week. There's hardly any fundamentals that are going to kick in. Price action is going to start to be responsive again after NFP, because NFP affects the market for the whole week. So there's just some outlooks for some pairs that I've been looking at. Probably my favorite that I'm going for is GBP USD. We might see a correction down to the downside again. We've sort of got a double top that's formed here on the 1 hour. So on the 4 hour, it sort of means that this resistance area has not been broken. So we closed above, but we came straight back. So a good possible short coming in for GBP USD again. We just have to see how it's gonna play out. But for me, this is definitely a sell. But this is just going off market structure stuff. So we'll see how the market opens. If there's a gap to the downside, then we definitely know. Again, AUD USD, I think we're going to return back to structure. For me, this is broken structure, and we are in a downward trend here, lower highs and higher lows, lower lows, sorry. So for me, we are going to continue going down. Looking at structure, this could be quite a big drop that we're expecting. There is some areas of support and resistance, between here and the major one I have identified at the bottom. But again, we just have to wait and see. Obviously, the market gap tonight, I think, will be quite big, but we will see what's going to happen here. Euro NZD, not much. For me, this is very much choppy. We've just come out of a lot of consolidation. Sure, we're making higher highs and higher lows, but for me, there's no power. So I'm expecting maybe a reversal of this bullish trend. Yeah, we've got bearish momentum signs on this resistance area here. So price has tried since February to break above this area, and it has failed. So I think this area here will be quite persistent, and we could get a nice breakout to the downside. Obviously, we are quite low to the support area, so there's no real position we can take now. But it would be a break of this trend line that I would be looking for. If we break this support as well, that now becomes resistance, there's another confirmation. And if we break this 4-hour trend line, I think we will definitely be going for sales. But at the same time, we could bounce off this and continue. But as you can see, like I said, since February, we've been struggling to break above, 1.7. So 1.7, I think, is a really, really strong resistance area. But if at the same time, if it does break, it's going to become a really, really strong support area. So we just have to wait and see what's going to happen here. Again, I also take some pairs from you guys, what you guys want me to look at. GBP, JPY, I'm expecting a nice short to come in here again. We've got some bearish momentum here. We failed to make another higher high. We made a higher low and a lower low. So we're just gonna have to see what's gonna happen here. This would be a nice trade. There's plenty of potential in this. You're talking about 100 pips or so. So there is quite a lot here. It also give you an entry. So it could paint a little bit. We could get, some nice price action formations forming, falling wedge, rising wedge, and then a continuation. So there's lots of trading possibilities that I can see this week. There's going to be a lot of corrections with the bullish run that we've had over the past month or two. So yeah, I think this week is going to be a really good trading week. There's not much to worry about in terms of there's no NFP, there's no hectic stuff that's going to be happening here for me. Euro AUD. Yeah, this one's just a bit of a tough one, eh? We'll just have to see how it's going to react around 1.56800. As you can see, when it approached it before, we got a nice bullish lift off there. But we've got a bit of consolidating here, but we'll just have to see what's going to happen. Like I said, you can see how we've been bullish for so long. So now I think we are due a correction. So, we could come down to 154,320. But it's just about waiting to see. I think the market will give us nice entries this week. It's going to respect price action pretty nicely. As for gold as well, gold, to be honest, I was expecting a break to the downside when NFP was announced, but obviously that changed, and my bias changed when we had a confirmation of an entry on a lower time frame. So if we go to the hour, looking at it, we didn't break any trend. We didn't break this area of support that I had. We stuck to this trend line like clockwork. You can see we had a nice pin bar rejection come down. I entered on the rejection. I'm still in gold, so hopefully you take profit. But yeah, it's just gold for me is, if you want to learn how to use structure on a pair, gold would be the best option. It follows structure so nicely. As you can see, this is like one of my cleanest charts, is because it is so easy and it's very clean to analyze. There's no trick to it. It's just pure market structure, higher highs, higher lows. It respects support really well, respects resistance really well. And, it does give you opportunities if you know what you're looking for. Okay, so again, on this, if you're looking at the confirmations that I was looking for, we're in a bullish trend. So this is a 4-hour bullish trend. Confirmation 1, confirmation 2, we're on a bullish supporting trend line. That's confirmation number 2. Number 3, we are near an area of support. Okay, so this, you can see this area of support was resistance all the way from, what's this? Yeah, the 20th of September last year. So this area is quite predominant in the market. So, you can sort of judge by how strong an area is, by how long or how many times the market has approached it. So for me, that was a really good confirmation. I entered it on the 30-minute, just because you can see, I want to say it kissed my trend line and then went away, So for me, that was really, really nice. Again, it was a really good entry. I was busy working on a video for you guys on how to, get really good entries and stuff like this, enter on a wick. Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't post it, but I will be posting it this week sometime. I had some stuff come up this weekend. USD CAD. Yeah, this drop was news. So like I said, I think we're gonna see a nice correction again. So this news, we're gonna close. I like to call this a gap. We're gonna close this gap, but it's not really a gap, because again, market structure is market structure, and news is temporarily. Market structure is predominant throughout. So yeah, I think it just depends how we react around this support area or the resistance that I've got marked here. We have been bearish for so long. Yeah, we've got a really big bearish trend here. So I'll be expecting, but I want to see a confirmation of going long. because right now, if you go long, we could just continue more to the downside. We don't know where the bottom is. But yeah, there's equal support and resistance. Bears, bulls fighting here nicely. We'll see who wins, but I do definitely think that it is going to break this week. And mark my words. We just have to wait for the market to give us that opportunity. We don't go looking for that, right? NZD, JPY, I think we're in a really good position here to go long. As you can see, we are in a very bullish trend, a very, very bullish trend. And in a trend, we've got another bullish trend. So yeah, we just have to see how it's going to react around the 79 mark. If it does break, I would go long. But again, we just have to see, because you see, we're respecting this trend line so nicely. We've got multiple confluences. And we will see what's going to happen. But yeah, definitely, if you are interested in going long on gold, I mean, NZD, JPY, your target would be 81.50 roundabout, which is still really good in terms of pips. You're looking at 100 pips again, 115 pips, and there's maybe, depending on the market opens, I might actually take this tonight, but it just depends. With the stop loss of maybe, I would say 40, 45 pips, you'd be fine. So again, we've got a good risk to reward ratio. Yeah. And this is just a nice setup that I've just spotted now. Yeah, definitely. So if this is something you want to do, just wait for extra confirmation or so if you go to the lower time frame. We'll, like I said, we have to see how the market is going to react tonight. But for me, everything is pointing that we're going to continue going to the upside. So we'll see how this plays out. USD JPY. This for me, again, market structure, news on the drop on Friday. So we just have to see. Again, we are very, very bullish. Doing bullish since the 23rd of April. So yeah, what I would like to see to go long maybe is to come and touch a trend line or confirm an area for me somewhere here. And even the better, the closer to the trend line, the better for me. So if we had to, keep coming down and then, reach this trend line, and then we would get a nice break, probably get a break and then a nice retest. So this is what I would sort of be looking for. Right now, I think it's too early to enter because right now we don't have a clear market direction. We've just come off a large drop. So if you are waiting for USD JPY, I would wait for either a confirmation to go long or wait for it to come to an area that has stuck before, which would be this trend line, which is the bullish trend line that we're in. Okay, Euro USD. Personally, I'm thinking of shorting it because as you can see, yeah, we did break a trend line for a 1 hour trend line. And again, news brought it straight back up, but at the same time, news brought it straight back up, but it's respecting. Okay, but we would just have to see, we could get a wedge of some sort forming over here and we would trade that. But again, I do think we will get a nice correction to the downside and then a continuation to this level of support down here. So we're looking at about 1.2 to the dollar for the euro. Again, we'll just see how the market plays out. Like I said, I think this week is going to be really good to trade in terms of we do corrections, we do some
Hello,
big movements in the markets. Good evening.
If you don't mind me asking, how about we analyze NES for next week?
Okay, yeah, I'll do Nasdaq as well. Don't worry, I won't skip it. It is
Okay,
it's
thank
on
you.
my list as well. I will do it. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
No problem. EuroCAD. Yeah, EuroCAD. These are just some pairs that I will do with you guys. I'll do some more with you. EuroCAD for me is really tricky. I did a lesson with one of the students on this pair, and this is sort of a pair I like to stick away, but I'll just show you guys anyway. Right now we're consolidating. We could either buy at support and sell at resistance, but at the same time, you can see how we got some hectic outcries of this area here. So yeah, I wouldn't look for this. But I think again, same as USD CAD, we've been buried for so long that there's going to be an opportunity to go long on this sometime shortly. But it's about waiting for that opportunity. At the same time, there's no real trading opportunity here. Okay, so for any of the guys that have any questions right now you'd like me to answer, I'll do that for you. Chat box.
Do you trade London session or do you wait for New York as well?
So I'm based in London. So obviously I wake up 7:30 my time, and then half an hour later, London session opens. So I do trade in the beginning of London session up to New York session, and sometimes I close. I barely trade Asian session or Sydney. But yeah, I think for everyone that's when the most movements are. I feel sorry for the guys that live, that part of the world, because you sort of got to stay up for market movements and stuff like that. So you don't always catch them. But yeah, it just depends wherever I see opportunity. Sometimes I don't trade London session because it's lacking volume, and then once New York opens, you've got volume from New York and London, which comes in and makes it better.
Right. Gotcha.
Okay. So we'll go to Nasdaq. Again, Nasdaq respects structure really nice. You just have to know how to read it. We are at the highs of previous days. As you can see from the 25th of May, we are approaching these highs again. So from the 25th of May to now, we've been below. So I would be expecting, I'd be expecting this bullish momentum to continue. If I'm honest, we just have to see how we're going to react around this area. And then obviously we've got 139 just above it. So we'll see how this does. In the past, it's a lot of bears have sat here and pushed the market down, and you can see the push that it's done is really big. So we just have to see how it's going to react around here. To go long on this, maybe I would like to see, there's a psychological level here, maybe. I would like to see a break of this. So a candle close above, a retest. And then again, we wouldn't really want to go long until we see what's going to happen at this area, yeah. Because at the same time, you're going to go long, but you're, I don't know, for me, there's not a big enough opportunity here. I think it's still tradable, but at the same time, for me, it's only 80, 85, 86 bucks. So at the same time, I would maybe wait to see if it does there. But if it does break, this would be a really good entry to, go long to all-time highs. But again, I think we have another big resistance area just above. But like I said, you just have to see what's going to happen. But yeah, I think the market structure sort of speaks for itself. Again, this spike did come from NFP, so we could continue with market structure, which is going below. We just have to see how it is going to open. But yeah, in an ideal world, I'll be waiting for a break and a retest. If that does happen, then I will go long on it. I do trade Nasdaq when I find it's respecting structure nicely, and I see what I want to see. I don't just see what I feel. But yeah, Nasdaq, I think this candle is going to close might close as a pin bar or some sort of rejection, and we continue back to the downside. Yeah, looking at it. Yeah, I would definitely wait to see how it's going to react around, 133.775. Just because there's some indecision here in the market, as you can see on the 7th of May, which is tomorrow is exactly a month away. We approached this level and we failed to break through, but of course we were at all-time highs, so sellers were stepping in left, right, and center. So yeah, we could. For me, we are bullish again. So we had a nice double bottom, and a nice continuation. We made a higher low, higher low, and then a bit of consolidation. So for me, this consolidation was due to NFP. The market was indecisive. It was waiting for something to happen, right? And then, yeah, so I think this would be really good to go long for, but at the same time, we need to wait. Okay, the opportunities will come to us if we wait. It's about a waiting game. We don't enter too early. We wait for the right opportunity. Yeah, so I think for Nasdaq, my forecast would be we're gonna go long again if this bullish momentum continues. Yeah, because this bullish candle literally goes from one support to a resistance. So we'll have to see if this is going to continue, which I think it will personally. But like I said, we trade what we see, not what we think. We wait for a break, wait for a retest possibly, and then it's a good opportunity to go long. We sort of, after this consolidation, we broke structure. Yeah, so this automatically would sort of be a change of trends. But at the same time, if we do stretch out a trend channel, yeah, it could conform to a trend nicely. But again, you need a third touch to confirm a trend line, right? So we just have to wait and see what's going to happen. Yeah, so far what the market is telling me from how everything's closed, I think, like I said, this week is going to be a really good trading week. Not only if you trade Nasdaq, but currency pairs. If you trade gold as well, there's definitely gonna be some really good opportunities out there, guys. At the same time, don't take my word for. Yeah, I'm saying something's gonna short. Wait for that confirmation. Wait, make it work to your plan, not to mine. Just because I say something is gonna sell, I could be wrong. There could be a change of structure when market opens and prints overnight, obviously with Asian session, but we just have to wait and see what's going to happen. Okay. So now this is the opportunity to take any questions before I go on to RSI. USD CAD, I did do USD CAD. Let me just go through all the questions. Please look at Germany 30. Germany 30 is becoming very popular to trade nowadays. I see a lot more people trading DAX. I don't know why. I still got that session thing open from last time. Yeah, this is not something I would really trade, but looking at it, let's see. Yeah. Again, I think this is all-time highs, no? Yeah, all-time highs. So we just have to see what's gonna happen if I dive a bit deeper. Yeah. There's definitely some nice structure. If I just point out the blatantly obvious, there's some nice structure. We've got a nice trend. I would envision, wicks don't always count. If you go to, yeah, there's some good structure. Yeah. Again, we are dancing around this area. Yeah, so this could be a potential breakout and retest. So just bear with me, guys. This is not something I usually trade. Yeah, I think we are bullish, but at the same time, like I said, we had an all-time high again. So for me, automatically when you're at an all-time high, there's a lot of pressure from sellers, and then those sellers have to be beaten and converted into buyers. So for me, yeah, maybe right now there wouldn't be a really good entry point here because we in the middle between, resistance can be your hangers. It could be, yeah. So we just have to wait and see. Obviously, if this one, a nice trading opportunity would be to come back. And then this would give us a nice entry, depending on how we react around this area, yeah. And we find the supporting trend line. Again, that would be another confirmation. But definitely, I think if we had to enter long here, we haven't got much in our favor. Yeah, this could be a slightly ajar double top. We don't know. At the same time, we could also come back down for a nice retest, giving us a nice entry. See how we react around this area firstly. See if anybody rejection candles, etc., and then go long. So at the same time, I always like to say, you don't enter something when it's in the middle, right? You don't come to a movie when it's in the middle because you know how it ends, but you don't know how it starts, right? So you wanna enter at the right time, and that would be near level of support to resistance for me.
I got a question too.
Yeah, well,
So you see how if you zoom in, you see how price starts to get the wicks get closer towards the support. So you would go for a buy at that point, right?
yeah. So for me,
my
if there was,
question,
yeah,
my question is there a way to further look into it? Because sometimes you would go for a buy, but then it breaks through that support and it turns into resistance and it shoots straight down.
again,
Is there a way?
yeah, it just depends how much is there. So obviously, if there's just one area of support and you see a wick, it could potentially, that wick will then close a full candle. But again, if I can just do an example here, if you're near support and resistance, right? So if we have a level in the market, like let's say here, we've got a trend line as well, and the market is, is pushing, is making higher highs. Again, structure will always overpower any support and resistance levels, and that's how you can identify them. So if we're making higher highs and higher lows, right, and we are near an area of resistance, so was resistance, it now becomes support. Again, we're keeping market structures a higher high, higher low, higher high, and we come back down to this area. So for me, again, you're on a support, you're on a supporting trend line, and you're in a bullish trend, right? So there's already 3 confirmations. So the problem is that people will enter a wick that's, there's just one area of support, and you'll see the market, it will break above, they'll enter sells, right? But there's no real anything else below it. So they'll enter, sells, but then it'll actually close above, and they'll actually see, okay, well, we're going back down, but that is just a retest. So it all just depends on the market structure before the area that you're entering at. So at the same time, you want to take the structure into consideration before you enter on any wicks. So obviously, as a beginner, if somebody had to enter on a wick that breaks to the upside, and they see it coming down, they would automatically feel relieved because, oh yes, we're coming back down, I'm not losing so much. But at the same time, they don't actually know that this is just a retest and it's keeping with structure, making a higher high and a higher low, and then a continuation, right? Okay, so it's just about combining a trend line, a supporting trend line, and an area of support or resistance. So demand or supply. So you'll see that these wicks tend to happen where there is a lot of, the price will come back down and it will trigger a lot of orders. So you'll get, buy stops and all of those, and sell limits, buy limits, all of those in areas, and that would cause the price then to push up. Okay, so it's all about market structure is the most important. So if you're making a higher high and a higher low, that should be immediate to that you're in an uptrend, right? And if you're keeping with higher highs and higher lows, it doesn't make sense to enter a sell unless you're literally scalping for a couple of minutes, hours on that sort of retest, if you know what I mean. So, you've broken above and you sell. You can sell to the point where it's a higher low, but you don't hold it forever. So like I said, the trend is always has to be in your favor.
Appreciate
Okay.
it.
No worries. Okay, so Germany 30. My forecast on this: wait for an area of an area of interest for me would be this support level. Yeah. If you want, I'll analyze this properly and then I'll send a screenshot to you guys. But yeah, for me, I would wait for price to come back to this area and then look to go long. Or if it breaks, there is a chance to sell, but again, you want to see how it reacts around the trend line. So for me, that we just have to wait and see. There's no real opportunity here. CAD JPY. You guys make your lives difficult trading these pairs, you know that. CAD JPY. Again, for me, very, very hard pair to analyze, to try get to grips of what's actually happening. Obviously, we are very bullish, right? Again, we've reached an all-time high. We failed to break this area. So since the 27th of last month, we've come back 3 times. Again, there's no real, for me, a trend line is not vertical, and a trend line in this case should be vertical. Yeah, you can't even, you see, the problem is when you learn how to do trend lines and all this, you try to force them onto a market, which gives you a false, deception of what you're actually trying to do. But for me, I don't see enough compelling structure. Sure, we made a high, a high, low, a high, 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 low. But for me, that bullish momentum, was finished when it made a double top when it failed to make a high here. So to me, it doesn't make sense of why it's still bullish, because in my head, when it breaks structure, you get a reversal. But at the same time, I guess we could have something like this, but we've closed below it and we've got a supporting trend line. So yeah, I think we are due a correction in most of the markets. So like I said, this thing has been bullish since the 21st of April. So we are now in June. So 3 months of continuous bullish power. There comes a time when that bullish run will be over. And for me, there's plenty of rejection here at 91. So again, 91 all-time high. Yeah, I would definitely, for me, that would, even though we're in a bullish trend, I'll definitely be looking for selling opportunities. But again, we trade what we see, not what we think. Because at the same time, you can see how nicely we lifted off this trend line. Again, this is only 1 touch, 2 touch, possible third question mark. Your analysis could be slightly different to mine, but mine is purely based on structure. And if a trend line for me doesn't fit, I won't try to force it. But for now, I think this would be a suitable trend line. We just have to see how we're going to react. We have a nice, if we go to a 1 hour, we might have a bullish engulfing. Exactly. So we do have a bullish engulfing. So for me, you got a high, a lower low, a higher low, a lower low, a higher low. We could actually continue coming down, but then again, we've got this trend line which supported this quite nicely because you got a bullish engulfing. Yeah, don't ignore that. But yeah, okay, JPY, another one. We just have to see what's going to happen. We have to see what it's going to do. But for me, this is definitely a change of trends because we're making lower lows and higher lows. We just have to see what's going to happen, really. Again, we just have to see what it's going to do around this area. So like I just explained, if this is an area of, we've got a support level. Yeah, I would actually say this is a nice support level. It goes back all the way to 11th of May. And you can see how many times we've lifted off. And at the same time, yeah, we've got a nice bullish engulfing. So again, we could just be retesting this level, or we could be building momentum to break through. As you can see, we've been above 9,500 for a couple of, since May, really. So yeah, we could see some nice pressure to the downside. We're making lower lows and higher lows. And we're just going to see what's going to happen. So again, we trade what we see, not what we think. If we definitely have a break in trend, then definitely we would be shorting it. Because again, this to me is an imbalance. There's no real, we corrected half of it, but again, there's so much movement here so quickly. Possible areas that we could look to target. Yeah, so maybe if you trade multiple stop losses, you could have a first stop loss around this area, or just slightly above because you want to keep above. So somewhere around there. So again, there's still good opportunities here. Again, you're 32 pips. Yeah, that's quite average for a first take profit. And then if we keep with market structure, you could just trail a stop loss, and you could ultimately go to the next level. Yeah, again, this is another probably 30 pips as well. So all in all, potentially, yeah, 90 pips, so 60 pips by 30 pips. It's quite a good option to go for. There's a lot of potential, yeah. To the upside, I wouldn't say there's much potential because again, you've got this area of resistance and the price has failed to break it on multiple occasions. So if you theoretically went long, your maximum target is only 50 pips with a first take profit of not even 15, which is quite bad. So yeah, for me, definitely the odds are in the favor to short. There's more potential where we can go to because we don't know where the next level of hectic resistance is or where we're going to expect a reversal. But from what we can see, we don't want to be too greedy, right? There's no point putting a stop loss all the way somewhere up here. So at the same time, again, 50 pips is a good amount, but like I said, it outweighs the opportunity to the downside of 100 pips. So yeah, we just have to wait and see. NZD USD. I did the USD CAD. I'll just do NZD USD quickly.
So that little watch pair on your right, those are your main pairs.
Yeah, so I've got a watch list and a red list. So my red list is what I put in all the currency pairs and I get rid of what I don't want to look at. And then my watch list is what I'll have alerts on. Like because I'll go to work and stuff during the day, so I'll have alerts on watch list. And then trading is, this is what I trade very often.
Hope
So
you don't mind me shouting that.
No worries. Yeah, so it's just about finding pairs that you understand, that you click with, that make sense to you. Because at the end of the day, it has to make sense to you.
Right. And I have a couple of pairs. It's just hard sometimes.
Yeah,
it's executing it. And I just NFP week wasn't on my side either. So
of course,
like you said, my price action might be more this week.
Yeah, I definitely think so. NZD USD. For me, this is a big channel of consolidation because you're not really making higher highs. We literally just, I don't know. Yeah, because there was some bullish momentum that kicked in, yeah, but that sort of got stopped out straight away before we even reached this level. So if we had to go back, I'm just going to mark this level, yeah. again, based on structure, I think we missed entry to go long, if I'm honest. Again, we missed entry quite far. Yeah, 81 pips. Yeah. So again, we're in the middle of something. We don't actually know what to expect from here. Going to the 1 hour. Yeah, so this bullish momentum is being stopped out pretty quickly. Okay? So we lifted off from here quite nicely. You got a nice bullish engulfing here, but then we haven't got a nice continuation. You can see how, this bullish candle is very, very small compared to the others. So I think the bullish momentum here is wearing out. So we could just be forming a nice little downtrend here. At the same time, we're in the middle of something. So we don't trade unless we are given an opportunity. We get a flag, a rising wedge, head and shoulders. But going off support and resistance, yeah, again, this one is just a waiting game, I would say. Yeah, again, we are near a resistance level. Yeah, for me, this would be a psychological level, not a real resistance level. Yeah, so we just have to see what's going to happen. I would have liked to see the bullish momentum continue, or if we get a higher low. So if we had continued with this and we got a higher low and then a continuation, but we didn't. We just got, I want to call mini consolidation if we had to go look. Yeah, so this was, again, you got some really long wicks to the upside. So potentially on a 15 minutes, you could look at this as a flag. So we just have to wait and see. Again, it's one of those ones that are in the middle. But yeah, this one's not too bad if we've broken out of the flag already on the 15-minute. But then again, we would be targeting, somewhere around here.
And
Which
those wicks to indicate is downside momentum, though. No, to the left.
Yes. So, but it just depends. So for me, wicks become valid when they're near support and resistance, right? So at the same time, we've identified this level here because you can see this is quite a prominent level from, many, many moons back. So 14th of May, oh, this is a 50-minute. So yeah, like I said, it can be a bit deceiving on a higher time frame. You have 5 bullish candles like that, but on a smaller time frame, they really do tell a story. We could possibly continue, but at the same time, like I said, I would have liked to see some structure, high, low, and a continuation, but we didn't actually get that. So depending on how we react around this area, yeah, we could break out, retest, and then go from there. Or like I said, we're printing a flag on a 15-minute. And if we get a break of this would be a good opportunity to go long. Again, this is not even worth it for you. This is 11 pips or so. You could have a take profit one there and a TP2 at 35 pips. And so yeah, there is definitely, for me, there's potential to both sides. So right now, I'm in the middle of this one. I would rather trade what I see. And if we do get a break, I would go on this one. But just have to wait and see. What do you do if you get possible buys
Sure, bro.
and sells, like on Euro NZD?
Sure, bro.
I don't know what you mean by buys and sells. For me, this is really a good structure for Euro NZD, especially. We've got a nice downtrend coming here. Yeah, again, come back to a support area, see how it reacts. Either a break would mean a short, or respect would go long for me. Again, we failed to break this area 1.7, as I said previously, but yeah, 1.7 for me is way too strong, as we've been trying forever to break above and we haven't. So yeah, I think definitely shorts, but again, we have to see how it's going to react. USD CAD I said was consolidating forever. Sorry, yeah, it's consolidating. It's a downward trend. I would have expected some bullish momentum to kick in by now, but we've literally got nothing. We've all been stomped out by the bears. We just have to see what's going to happen, really. And for me, a break to the downside would lead to sells. A break to the upside would lead to buys. Okay, JPY just done. What pairs? So you need to find a pair. I would stay away from exotic pairs. Exotic pairs are sometimes they lack volume. Sometimes, they move very, very, very slowly. So I want to stick to, major pairs. So most of mine on here are major pairs, GBP, AUD. So there's some minor, there's some major, there's some exotics, NZD, JPY, for example. But it's all pairs that I can click with. It's CAD JPY is not one of my pairs, so don't mark that down. I just did that because I lost. Yeah, EuroCAD is also not one of my pairs. It's not something I trade. But stick to majors, because majors you'll get volume. Where you get volume, you get good trading opportunities, and with volume comes, decent price action that you can actually trade. In terms of miners and exotics, USDZR is actually quite good to trade because there's lots of pips in small movements, but at the same time, if you have a small account, it'll blow your account. There's just about, you have to find something that you understand. I might understand a pair that you have no cooking clue, or you understand a pair that I have no cooking clue. So you just have to click with something. And, if it's like reading a book, right? The book will interest you, but for me, I'll be like, I don't want to read this, So it's like a language that you have to understand of how US dollar and the Japanese yen correlate, for example. They married in a relationship, so you have to see.
If you don't mind me asking,
Yeah.
on $100 account, would
Yeah.
it be fine to trade gold? Because I enjoy trading gold, and I think that's where most of my profit come from.
Personally, no, I wouldn't trade gold with this, unless you've got your entries and stuff to perfection. We're talking really, really small stop losses. But at the same time, I was actually thinking today, if you have a USD account, your USD account, it would be better to change it into a currency with more numbers, for example. So if you convert $100 to rand, you're going to get 1,400 rand, which means you're going to have a lot more numbers to play around with, if that makes sense. But then you just start converting back, of course. So for me personally, I would not trade.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
that's
trade
exactly
gold.
what I did. So I started trading from USD in ZAR
Yeah,
instead of USD.
yeah,
I'm finding it a lot easier,
of
I
course.
guess. And yeah, and you are right. On gold, your stop loss has to be like precise and like really small,
Exactly.
because
Yeah,
gold moves really fast, and it also it can get very volatile, as
exactly.
well as it can really blow your account out. So I have blue accounts on it, but I think most of my accounts actually got blown on Nasdaq, expecting too much, I guess. But gold, I feel like I actually make profit off that
Yeah, so
more, and I
yeah.
enjoy it. I really enjoy gold.
Yeah, so gold is really good to trade. If you have a small account, it's really difficult to trade because, sometimes in gold you get drawdown, and that drawdown can be the difference between blowing your account. And sometimes you can be right. You just enter too early, so you suffer drawdown. Your account blows. It goes in your direction. There you hate forex, right? So it's for me $100
That's true.
account. If you do trade it, we're talking 0.01, a stop loss that is tighter than I don't know what. And it's just about, you have to, if you enter a trade and you've got a stop loss and you can sort of see, hey, I need to cut this loss early, then cut it early. Because at the end of the day, you don't have much room to play with.
I totally agree with that.
Good. Okay, US 30. Yeah, US 30. Again, another account blower. Yes. Yeah, so I think US 30 got an all-time high just here. Yeah, I think if we keep with this, I was gonna say, okay, we already broke structure over here. So for me, we got a break of structure here because we made a high, low, and then we've just done I don't know what. So yeah, US 30, we just see how we react to this area. Yeah, obviously again we're in the middle, but at the same time we could have a potential trend. Yeah, I would say this is a trend line. Yeah, again, we've got some rejection just based off the candles that I can see. Again, it would have been a good entry on the trend line, but again, this confirmed our trend line because we got multiple touches over distance. So yeah, if you're holding on to a buy, I think that's a really good idea if you've entered already. But right now, to enter a buy, I would not, because then again, we've got this rejection pin bar right here, which then could lead to pushing us back down. Yeah, and then we have to see how we react around 35,000 again. Well, last time we approached it was the 10th of May, so it actually wasn't that long ago, considering that it's an high. But at the same time, you can see how the bears stepped in and took. Yeah, so if you hold a buy, that's really good. I would continue holding it until we get to this level here. But again, see how we react to where we are now. Let me go to a lower time frame here. Yeah, we definitely, the momentum is not as strong. The candles are getting smaller. The bodies are getting smaller. The wicks are getting longer as well. So yeah, I would wait for this one. Either you enter on a nice double top, which we could have nice forming over here, or I don't know. There could be a head and shoulders here, but again, the momentum is not there for me. Yeah, so just see how it reacts around this area. Yeah, if this conforms to your analysis, just see what's going to happen. If we break above, obviously, it would be nice to get a retest. We don't always get one, and then we would be targeting this 35,000 again. We just have to see how. Again, we have to see how it plays out. But yeah, I definitely think there's a head and shoulders here on a. Yeah, it's not quite perfect, but for me, there's a head and shoulders here and a neckline. So yeah, we just have to see how it's going to react coming to where it's approaching. Can you please also touch the point of breakouts? How do we know if it's a breakout is legit or it's not a fake out? Okay, so this is where this is the gamble in trading you take, right? It could be a fake out, it could be a breakout. How I would judge a breakout is the momentum that's behind it. So if you've got, the three soldiers, if you've got any sort of signs of bearish indication on that breakout, it's 9 out of 10 times a fake out. I've been caught on a fake out, don't get me wrong. It does happen. But how you can avoid getting caught on that is waiting for a retest. I know you don't always get one, but it's just about you don't know until you get a retest. For me personally, so I would wait for that retest. Like I said, you don't always get one, and sometimes you have that urge to enter, but at the same time, you really haven't got much for you, because if it's breaking out something, there's obviously that level there for a reason, right? So yeah, definitely if you have issues trading a breakout and getting caught out, wait for a retest of the breakout of something. A retest doesn't always happen, but for me it is stronger confirmation than a breakout alone. So if you consolidating below and then you break out, you want to wait for that retest to continue, because then you've got more than one reason to enter. So you've got a breakout, you've got a nice retest, and you're keeping with structure. So again, there you've got 4 things just based on structure of supporting your trade. Whereas if you didn't wait for the breakout, you only got 3, right? So the more, the better. At the end of the day, the more confirmations, the higher the probability of the trade, in my opinion. Discuss entry points. Entry points is the hardest part when it comes to trading. Finding a good entry is the difference between suffering loads of drawdown or going straight into profits, right? And for me, entry points, the market gives you, you just have to know how to find them. And for me, I use support and resistance and structure purely. Other people can use, there's so many methods, there's so many indicators that help you with these things. But for me, always my best entries come from how market is acting. So firstly, I look at market structure, then I look at a trend line, and then I look at support. So for me, when I enter a trade, I look for 4 confirmations of why I'm entering this trade. So we've got a bullish engulfing confirmation, number 1. Number 2, we've got a bullish trend. Number 3, we add a supporting zone. Number 4, we add the supporting trend line. So for me, that would be a really good entry point, all right? So sometimes those 4 don't end up sticking with you, but majority of the time they do. And that's how you can get really good entries, is wait for the market to get to a place where you want it to get. Don't just enter for the sake of, there's a big move coming, I think this and this. Have a reason behind every single trade you take. So for me, I have a reason on on GBP/AUD. So again, we're in a bullish trend, right? We're at the top of resistance. There's another reason to sell. Number 2, we are at a resisting trend line. Number 2. Number 3, we got a double top, or something similar to a double top with its area of resistance. So this area, yeah, is quite strong compared to previous times. If I go back, so you can see there is reasonings behind of why I've entered trades. I don't just enter them on, one or two confirmations. The more confirmations for me, the better, because at the end of the day, I used to be a chart zombie, right? I used to enter trade and I used to watch every single dollar I made or lost. And for me, that was because I didn't have full confidence in the trade, So for now, if I enter a trade, I know I enter a trade because I can see confirmations. I can see why I'm entering. And that's how I'm able to leave my phone and I'll come back in an hour. I've hit take profit. I've hit stop loss. Why have I hit stop loss? Okay, I missed this, right? And it's important to review trades, because if you don't review trades, you're not going to learn. Right. And it's 9 out of 10 times, if you enter a trade and you lose and you come back and look at it again, you'll be like, how did I miss that? And it's simple things that you might not, when you're in the moment looking for a trade, you might see something that's not actually there. And then once you've taken out and your emotion is gone and there's no influence, there's no pressure or anything, you can actually see, yeah, I actually missed that. Right. And then you can sort of work on not missing it again in the future. What should I do if I'm growing the break even? If I'm growing the BE, breaking even, and eventually blowing. For me, if you blow an account, your risk management is shot. For me, no matter how small the account, I know trading a small account is hard, but fundamentally, if you are blowing accounts, your risk management is not up to scratch. And that's the biggest thing I can't emphasize enough. I personally do not know a successful trader that does not use risk management. And that's how important it is between breaking even and blowing accounts, right? So if you enter a couple of trades, you've lost them, and then you come back to break even, and then, so that could be anything from a psychological frustration, and you're tired of reaching the point where you were 10 days ago, and then you over enter, you over lot size, you over risk, and then your account ends up blowing. So it's just about working on risk management. You can trade a $10 account and still have good risk management. You're just talking really tight stop losses. You're not aiming to make $1 on a trade on 0.01, right? On a $10 account, you're going for percentage wise. It's not always about money, or I always think of money as a percentage or as something other than money, because at the end of the day, if you think of money as a percentage, you don't have a connection with percentage like you do with money, right? So if you think of your money as a percentage, you lose that emotional connection to your money in your account, right? So if you're trading and you're negative 0.5%, it sounds a lot better than saying you're negative 60, right? So for me, it's always percentage. You're looking to grow your account percentage wise, not grow your account money wise. Because if you disconnect that money aspect from your trading account, there you've already got your emotional side covered.
But when you enter a trade, do you enter in like one big lot size, or do you scale in a couple of lots?
No, I wouldn't enter. So for example, my trading account, right? The biggest lot size I use is I have a $17,000 trading account, for example. The biggest lot size I use is 0.44.
Okay.
Right. And if 0.44 is my max, I do not go above that. But if I believe in it or something, I'll enter multiple positions of 0.44. I won't increase my lot size. I'll just enter multiple positions, because that way I can have a take profit 1, I can have a take profit 2. And if it's really keeping with market structure, I can trail my stop loss. And that's how you sort of maximize the potential of a movement. And that's the thing people sort of don't understand. They would rather enter one big ass lot size and hope for it to go up or something, where if you enter multiple positions, so if you, for example, if you use lot size 20, right, divide 20 by 5 and open something like that, so you open 4 positions of 0.5, have one that can run, you'll leave it to run until it breaks structure or until it hits your stop loss above entry or something, and then have a take profit 1 and take profit 2 and let the others run, and at the same time, if you've entered multiple positions and it breaks structure and it's not going in your favor, close it early. Why would you hold on to something that's dragging you down? So if you think of it, if you jump into a swimming pool and you're holding onto a brick, you're going to sink. Why keep holding onto the brick? You know?
Mhm.
DXY. It's just a really good point. I don't know why
Yeah,
it's not on my list.
it's on the USD JPY. You saw bullish momentum, so I wanted to see what it looks like.
Again, I don't understand why some of these. So my analysis from last week's actually disappeared. I've never experienced this on TradingView, but yeah, again, the dollar was quite strong. That's why gold fell, which is because of this candle here. But then the opposite happened on Friday with NFP. So DXY right now is in a very tough space. I would say I would wait to see what's going to happen on Monday. That's why the goats, they don't like trading on Mondays and Fridays because they like to see how the market plays out, how things open, how the market moves again. So DXY right now, we are at a support area. I would expect for the dollar to strengthen again with the stuff happening over the weekend. There's some positive news. But yeah, it's really tricky to, if I go to, let me see. You guys can still see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So again, it takes 10 minutes to read these things, right? So yeah, so even these will sort of give you an indication if you use moving averages or something like that. And reading about something, to me, makes a lot more sense than just looking at a graph, right? If you look at a graph, you want to know why. And then investing.com or my FX book will always give you that answer. So stock markets, JP Morgan. So JP Morgan freezes donations. So that means the FTSE is going to have an impact on Monday when it opens. JP Morgan is one of if you guys don't know, in the UK, it's a big bank. They operate sort of worldwide and in Europe. So JP Morgan is a big part of FTSE 100. So if you trade FTSE 100, have a look out for this. Yeah, so DXY again, I would wait for weekend. I would have liked to see this bullish candle continued, but at the same time, we're getting some nice rejection dojis here. So yeah, we just have to see what's going to happen. I don't know why I lost my analysis. Oh, there we go. And so yeah, like I said, I would have liked to see that bullish momentum continue, but unfortunately, we didn't get it. Okay, so we just have to see how it plays out, but most of it is, I would say, news based. Engulfing candle on which time frame? Okay, so how I like to play things, right, is the higher the time frame, the higher the confirmation. Okay, so if you have a bullish engulfing on a 4-hour, that is really strong. If you have a support level on a 4-hour, it is stronger than a 15-minute support. It is stronger than a 30-minute support. It is stronger than a 1-hour support. So for me, if you want to take a note of this, say the higher the time frame, the stronger the confirmation, and then give yourself an example. So a 4-hour support level is stronger than a 1-hour support level. Because if you look at a 15-minute, you're going to be drawing zones out of your ears. Zone here, zone there, zone there, zone there. So you want to look at the higher time frame, right? So for me, a 4-hour, for me, is what I look for when I enter a trade. Is 4-hour support area for me outweighs a 1-hour, a 30-minute, a 15-minute, a 1-minute, that kind of thing. That's how I blew account due to overtrading. Exactly. And there's no reason to overtrade because I think people, they get afraid when they're not making money or they're seeing big moves and they're not involved and they just constantly, enter trades where if you think of it, you only necessarily need to trade 4 times a week if you're looking percentage wise and you'll still be fine. There's no need to take 50 positions a week. There's no need to take stupid amounts of trades. It's all about, if you reach for me personally, I would have a daily goal, and if I hit that daily goal, good for me. I close my chart, I leave it for the day. I come back tomorrow. It's a new day, new mind. It's a new beginning, and go from there, right? Same as a daily goal limit. I have a daily loss limit. I have 3 trades and I'm out. This is where a trading plan will step in and help you guys. If you guys have a trading plan, it will help you guys so much. Okay, I know some of you are confused with the trading plan. If you're confused with making a trading plan, just message me. I'll send you an example of my trading plan. Don't copy it exactly because what works for me might not work for you, if that makes sense. I grew a $20 account to around $80 with gold, but greed killed me. And the drawdown dealt with me according to my margin wasn't exactly. So there's always the market humbles you so quickly when it comes to greed, when it comes to overconfidence, when it comes to overtrading. It puts you back in your place. And that's one of my rules, is that the market owes me absolutely nothing. Advice on scaling in, know when to do it. And again, it's if you want to scale in, if you, let's say for example, you entered on a buy, right, on a lot size of 0.20, scale in with 0.10, do 0.10 a couple of times, or don't barcode the thing, just enter a couple, because you want to maximize at the end of the day, and you want to make sure you're keeping with structure, right? So how you enter on a scale in, for me personally, is I'll wait for to be making a high, we make a higher low. This is where I would scale in, or you could even scale in as extra confirmation on the break of the previous high. So for example, if you wanted to scale in, most people, they like to scale in at the bottom, but then again, you ask them, how do you know where the bottom is? And they can't tell you. So you enter on the break of the high. So if this is a high, a higher low, you enter on the break of the high, right? So for you, this is keeping up with market structure. Because that's the thing, some people will enter, for example, if you enter 0.10, I'll just do a quick. So if you enter right, so you've entered your buy here at the bottom, you enter another buy with the same lot size here, people, and it comes back to make a lower high, people will like, oh shit, well, all the profit that I've made coming there is canceled out by the buy at the top. So therefore you're stuck with nothing. So you just wait. It's about waiting. I promise you, patience is everything in Forex. And you wait. You can either wait for, like I said, the break, or you can try gauge the bottom of where a higher low will be. But that is also very difficult. So for my advice to you, trade it on the break of the high. So the higher high, the higher low, trade it on the break. Okay, and halve the lot size that you normally use. So if you opened with the 0.10, use 0.5, 0.20, 0.10. Okay. You're not alone. When I was new, same happened to me with SLIE, became negative, closed my trade automatically, margin calls. Okay, so in a week with the 500 ZAR account, what is a realistic target within a week? So this is where you have to be realistic with yourself, because if you give yourself a target, right, and this target is the other side of the moon with the $500 account, you're gonna overtrade, you're gonna over risk. So you have to set with a 500 Rand account. If you're making 100 Rand at the end of the week, good. You're not gonna double the account in one trade. You're not gonna double the account in a month.
Oh.
It's what?
500.
If honestly, if you're using proper risk management and you're managing your expectations, and this is where the problem is, people have the wrong expectation of, I have a 500 Rand account. By the end of the week, I'm gonna have 5 grand. And in realistic terms, you are ignoring some part of a trading principle. If you're ignoring risk management and that happens to just be your week, next week the market will humble you, I promise you. And it's just about realistic approach, because at the same time, like I said, if you have an over ambitious target, you are going to over risk, you're going to over trade, you're going to over pressurize yourself to reach this target. So you want to give a target. Personally, this is a personal question. It's what you are personally happy with. For me, at the end of the day, if I trade for a week and at the end of the week I still have 500 Rand, I'm happy, because I know my risk to reward is good. I need to work on my win rate, because at the end of the day, I'm protecting my capital. I survive another week. I'm not depositing again next week, right? So it's all about what you are happy with. What can a target be on a 100 USD account according to you? Realistically, for me, I think of it as percentage. So if you have a $100 account, I'm looking for anything from 6 to 7% on a single trade. So if everything goes well, you're looking, realistically, in a day, $10. I know it sounds really low, but on a low account, when you're using proper risk management and stuff, this is the key to it. You have to be realistic, right? And once you start being realistic with yourself and you start being realistic with your expectations, everything will fall into place, because there's nothing worse than, you being disappointed and then next week comes and you have to deposit again. And then next week comes, you have to deposit again. And then the week after that, you've made all your money back. So you're like, oh yeah. So you withdraw it. And then next week you do exactly the same thing. You have to deposit again and again. So this is where the difference comes in with, you have to manage your expectations, guys. Okay, is there any other questions? Okay, so now I wanted to go, a few of you guys were asking about RSI, and RSI.
Yes, and the divergence.
That's right. Yes, I want to go. So RSI is the relative strength indicator, if you guys didn't know that. And divergence is a strategy that incorporates RSI. I know it can be used with other stochastic and all that, but I use RSI. Well, I used it. Like I said, I'm pure market structure trader. So for me, RSI, I know how to trade RSI. I just personally don't use it. But I will tell you guys how to do it. Quick question. What do you say about a 1 hour? 1 hour support and resistance is stronger than a 15 and a 30-minute resistance, right? So it's just about you have minor levels. So the smaller the time frame, the minor the level. The higher the time frame, the major the level. Interesting. Yeah, fine, absolutely fine. For me personally, the higher the time frame, the better. But at the same time, a 1 hour confirmation of a support area is fine, because most chances are your 1 hour support and resistance will be pretty close to your 4 hour. Check for me USD JPY. I did that, I think. Yeah, so USD JPY. We're in the middle of something, so I'll either wait for it to come back to support and then buy, and then see how it's going to react around the trend line. For me, we are very bullish, so I would expect to continue with this bullish momentum. It's just about waiting to see what's going to happen. So we trade what we see, not what we think, right? Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so RSI. Okay, so relative strength indicator and a divergence is basically when your RSI and your actual price on the charts are opposite. Okay, that's how I like to remember. So if you have a, I don't know what you want to call it. So if you have a double top on your RSI, and a double top, it can be anything. So I'll just draw some, for example, quickly. So if you have a RSI, right? So you've got price moving. You know, you've got, obviously you've got the 70 level and you've got the 30 level. So 70 is overbought and 30 is oversold. So you would expect reversals in these areas. Okay, and you've sort of got an area where something lines up, right? So you either got a double bottom or double, it can be either side. So double top, double bottom, triple top, triple bottom. You know, you've got a higher low as well. That also works on the RSI. And on a chart, so this in blue here is the RSI, and in the black is your actual price. So you've got price moving according to your RSI, right? And then you got I want to say, I'm just going to call this a double bottom for this example. And you'll have a similar thing happen on price, right? So this will be the divergence, and that will be a divergence. So this together gives you the opportunity to sell. Okay, so this would be a bearish divergence. So you get bullish divergence and bearish divergence. Okay, so obviously how you tell is both of these lines should be at the top. Okay, so double top or double bottom, and that's how it is. So basically that is the basics of it. Okay, I'll go into a bit more detail. So you get bullish divergence and you get bearish divergence. Again, the RSI is affected by the time frame. Okay, and it's very important not to be mistaken with the time frame in terms of, yeah, so the indicators additional information. People were asking about it, and if I know something, I'll take the time to explain it for you guys, because I'm here to help you guys at the end of the day. If you want to incorporate RSI into your strategy, it's just at the end of the day, it's only going to help you. It's an extra confirmation. So it is extra information. We don't teach it in the course. We like to teach pure market structure, because like I said, the danger with RSI comes with your RSI can be overbought on a 1 hour time frame, but on a 4 hour time frame, it is in the middle, right? And then you go to the 1 minute time frame and it's oversold, but you go to the 4 hour and it's overbought. So how the hell do you actually gauge this? So again, for me, the higher the time frame, the higher the confirmation. You guys will start to see, for me, I like things clear, and for me, it's like a 4 hour is really, really strong, and I'll stick to that because it works. Okay, so at the same time, like you get a bullish divergence, you just get bearish divergence. And the difference is they're quite easy to spot, but sometimes they do not always go to plan, right? And it's all about perception. You could see a divergence, I could see nothing. You know, you could show somebody else, they could see a divergence, they could see nothing. So it is something you have to fine tune to yourself. There is many strategies on how to use it, but for me, the most basic, I have a link for you guys I'll send, which basically just tells you. Okay, so I'll show you some pictures and some diagrams in a second, but at the same time, I want to warn you guys cannot trade using divergence on its own. That's where the problem comes in. People will learn a strategy called divergence. Oh, lekker, let me go trade it, and it doesn't work. It has to add on to your trading plan already. It has to match what you already trade. You use it as an extra confirmation, not as a confirmation signal. Okay, there's a difference. You don't enter on an RSI divergence. You enter based on as much confluences or confirmations that you have. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So I have a picture here. So this is AUD JPY. I'll open it here in a second. Okay, sorry guys, my internet's very bad. Okay, it's not actually working. I've got another plan. There we go. Okay, so you guys can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Good. So this is an example of what I was trying to explain. So you got a bearish divergence and you get a bullish divergence. Okay, they are, I want to say, it's very fine tuned, right? It has to match sort of exactly. There can't be, deviations in some point. Like a double top, it can the second top can be slightly higher, slightly lower, and it'll work. Where with a divergence, it has to sort of mirror exact for exact. So like I said, you can get, here's a triple top, there you've got a triple top as well, and it matches. So this would be an indication, and exactly the same thing as price action and market structure. This just tells you that again. So you got a high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, a higher low, failed to make a higher high, went back again, failed again, and then obviously that failing to make a higher high is a continuation or a change in trends, which is basically what the divergence is telling you anyway. So if you already know market structure really, really well, this for you it's pointless for you, right? So for me personally, learning market structure is easier than divergence, but it's just about understanding that this is just basically meaning that this relative strength indicator, the strength is running out. Okay, so there's not strength to break again. Chat. Can you please teach me how to use a Fibonacci? I do not use a Fibonacci. For me, there's too much room for error. Is the MA 50 or 20? It can be either or. 50 the better. 50 is better. It's like I said, it just depends. It's all about, you have to build a divergence plan that works for you. Okay, and sometimes a 50 will work better than a 20. Sometimes a 20 will work better than a 50. Okay, and it's just about, you have to fine tune it for yourself. Okay, and I can teach you guys how to do this, but you guys might not understand. And there's another way you guys can do it that works for you, which works. So, like I was saying, the RSI stands for the strength in the currency pair. And obviously, when a currency pair fails to make a higher high and a higher low, the strength is running out. This pelile is finished. So it just basically is confirming that the market structure, there's a trend change coming. So obviously, when you fail to make another higher high and you make a lower low and a higher low, obviously then you've got a bearish trend. Okay, so it's just about understanding market structure, which I think will help you way better than learning RSI in the first place. Okay, and then just another example here quickly. I have a nice image here. I sent this on the group chat. Okay. Is this picture here? So divergence. This is the exact one I used to use. I sometimes still use it, sometimes I don't. And it's just about what it means. So you get bullish, bearish, and it gives you examples of what it is. So you get a regular and you get a hidden. So you can see how it's opposite. So this one is slanted down, this one is slanted up. This one is slanted down, this one is slanted up. Sometimes they can be slanted up, slanted up. So that's why I said there's so much complication that goes into something that doesn't have to be complicated. So this is not only the only two ways it can be. So like I said, this is slanted down, this can be slanted down, and this can be up. It can be both down, it can be both up, it can be both opposites. It can, there's more than one way to interpret it. Okay, so I'm not going to dive too deep into this, but this is just basically the basics of it. Like I said, you have to fine tune it to yourself. There's plenty YouTube videos out there, but at the same time, use it with caution because it can give you false indications of things happening. It can change your whole trading plan if you rely solely on RSI indicators. This picture I did send in either Nasdaq or currencies, but if you want it, send me a message. I'll help you with it. And just make your life easy and just learn market structure. Like I said, it's a higher high, higher low, higher high. Failed to make a higher high. Change direction, made a lower low, a higher low. Obviously, if you make a from a higher high to a higher low, you've got a bearish trend, okay? And that's how simple it is. Okay, so use this at your own risk. And for me personally, it's better to use market structure. Okay. So yeah, if there's any more questions, I'll take them now. Other than that, I'm going to end the session, and then I'll do one tomorrow evening to see how everything played out. Because I know you guys sort of like these things. You like seeing sort of what I look for in the coming week and stuff like that. But sometimes you don't always get it. So I want to try to be as helpful as I can, but I don't want to be annoying, right? So if anyone has any questions, I'll take them now. If you want to use a Fibonacci, it's you can. There's plenty of YouTube videos. I don't use them because there's so much room for error. You could put it in the wrong place.
I can send my settings in. I use it.
You use it for Fibonacci, okay? Yeah, for me personally, there's too much room for error. If you draw it wrong, you've got entry missed by plenty pips. So
right. I just use it as just one confluence. If it doesn't hit the golden zone, then it's not. I don't mess with it.
Yeah. Okay, so I hope everyone enjoyed the session. Like I said, the session will be recorded again, and I hope it was helpful to you all. Again, if you guys have any questions, I always reply to your guys' messages. I'm one of you guys. I promise you, I don't think any higher of you guys or anything. And just Mentor, I think you should focus on explaining out how to analyze the market based on price action, what we learned in the course. That's what you're trying to do. But at the same time, people try things and they want what they read on the internet is not always the truth. So for me, somebody that has been through what you guys have been through, where I've tried every single strategy, I've read through many books, I've tried to incorporate many strategies, it doesn't work. So I will, if you guys want me to, I will stay clear of this. I'll just say no, or I don't use it, or it's not in the course, and then move on from it. But it's a very good point. Very helpful. Great, Andy. No worries, guys. At the end of the day, I'm one of you guys. I don't think high of myself. I don't think I'm literally one of you guys. A couple of years ago, I was in your shoes. You're welcome, Alex. And it's just about, you have to give yourself time, guys. I promise you, everything will start falling into place. And yeah, there's a video either coming out tomorrow or the day after, just to help you guys with entries and how to identify them. So I know I explained it briefly, yeah, but there will be a clear video for it. All right, guys. Well, I hope you have a good evening. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll make it a habit to see you guys on a Sunday evening, a Monday evening, and then sometime during the week. But yeah, have a good evening, guys. Use risk management always. It's like saying use protection, use risk management. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Cheers, guys.
Peace.
Cheers. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Peace.
Hey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Good evening. do, 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 do.